DDD and Earth Machine arrived to shake up the Chaliceslime Monthly. Don't believe 34% of you guys have not smashed the living crap out of the subscribe button. Please smash it so we can climb up to 110,000. We're within 300? Yeah. 330, I believe, as of filming this. So, Chaliceslime monthly breakdown for Swiss rounds. 15% Nishizu tier element. Not really surprised about that turnover. But, yeah, 15% Nishizu tier. And then we had 13% Flaunderies. Wow, Flaunder, you really are pulling off the turnaround here. And then we had 7 Sprite in top cut. 7% Sprite here. We also had Ishizu Madolche at a 6% representation too. Wow, you know, that really proves that the candy treats aren't defeated yet. You know, even with the loss of Herald, players are still pulling through here with it. We also had 5% Draco Slayer. Okay. 4% Branded Despia. We had 3% Dragon Link, and then we had 47% other. So in terms of your overall representation and number swings there, everything looks pretty standardized, I feel like, across the board. Now, as we push on into top 16 here, we had 7 Ishizu tier elements. Now, at this point in time, you literally should not be surprised by that number, as I'm not either. We also had 3 Flaunderies in top cut. Now, that's kind of interesting. Seeing that, I guess what's interesting here is 1 Sprite. Honestly, Sprite kind of getting pushed down into the category where Rogue is very, very interesting right now. So, your one-ups for this tournament were 1 Sprite, 1 Dragon Link, which we have all the list here. We'll talk about some of this. We had a Kashtira. We had a Scareclaw. I've been rooting for Scareclaw ever since I've seen that deck tear through some of the strongest regional competitions out there. We also had an Earth Machine, and we had DDD. Now, I have not seen DDD in so long that it has been very impressive, actually, how long it's been. So, the deck has such a high combo ceiling, and today was the day that somebody decided to pilot the absolute monster of a deck. So, quite interesting. All right, let's go pass on over and talk about some of those top deck lists. All right, the first list we're going to be looking at here is our DDD list out of Top Cut here, and I'm glad to see that Zero King Rage is getting some love here. Most of your iteration and combo with this deck will pretty much be the last time you saw it top. Obviously, you know, the Pyrays maps in here get the job done. One Rage usually is what we were going for. I see that we are, of course, citing the Silent Graveyards. Extra deck, triple Gogamesh, 1 Zeus, 1 King Kaiser. All of this looks pretty good. Only 2 copies of the Divisor King. I think that's fine. Do we actually make Purple Armageddon? I think we do, but it doesn't come up all that much. But outside of that, I don't really have much else to say. I don't know DD combo lines of play. The only real thing I know about this deck is when it goes, and it is a monster to watch. And, you know, especially in a format like this, where unless you, like, see a Dimension Shifter or something to mess up this deck's graveyard plan, you're probably going to get comboed on. Next up is Flounder. Ah, yes, this is what I like to see. And we all thought that, you know, the loss of Mystic Mind, you know, Flounder players will be fine. They'll walk it off. Nah, they just got triple Dimensional Fissure and triple Macrocosmo back, and they're main decking the Ghost Reaper for this list. This is actually kind of interesting. So whatever that you think, like, the format looks bad on paper, just remember you get to play this many anti-fun cards, and you get to cite even more anti-fun cards to break through the opponent's, you know, field. And typically, if you can do so, it'll put you in what we like to call the winning position. The thing with tier being is what it is, this format is, as long as you could like break their board and establish like a D-Fisher, you can pretty much recover, which is really good. I also see that we're maining triple evenly in here as well as an equalizer for this. So definitely got the right tools to get the job done here. Next up here, we had Kashtira. Now, this is the reason why, you know, Psybeast has been going up, and, you know, the Ascended Thunders, because they're stuck playing this really weird build until we get the new stuff. Oh. we're playing Lucky Straight. I see. Okay. This is like the extra deck utility that you like to see. We're actually playing Mountain Smasher as well. The extra deck utility in this build is crazy. Of course, there's the Sacred Swords as well. And then we are playing Triple Metaverse to activate our one of Necro Valley. Okay. You know what? It works. All right, you need to be able to, I do kind of agree, you do need to be able to see this card and get it going. And of course, Astral Kribo here is going to be an absolute monster for this deck. Don't underestimate this card. I feel like a lot of people look at this deck and they kind of, scoff around a little bit. They're like, yeah, I don't need to play Astral Kribo right now. Yeah, for the current iteration, you do. Next up here is our Earth Machine Box. Now, I'm very happy to say, first of all, that this did perform in the top 16 for this tournament, which I'll clap for it. I've been wanting to see Earth Machine do relatively well. It just struggles sometimes. All right, especially now that Macro and Di-Fi are running around in the format for sure. But this deck's game plan still has remained the same for the whole format. You're going to, stick through, the gearbox here. You're going to set up Regulus and friends. You get on a pretty large machine board as per usual. Is it anything crazy and out of left field? Not really. The combo does is pretty much the same about 70% of the time. You can get a few deviation points as well. And then, of course, the deck just gets to freely abuse Rivalry and goes into mess up the opponent's game plan. Yeah, it's really that simple. But it is kind of nice seeing, a rogue pick like Earthbox, showing up and doing as it needs to do for the format. Oh boy, Scareclaw. Now, here's an interesting thing about this deck. Last format we saw Scareclaw top 3-ish, 4-ish regionals. Maybe it was somewhere in the ballpark of 3. And a lot of people were just kind of like, like it didn't top any YCSs or anything. But on the regional level, it did kind of spin some heads. And it's mainly because they have the Field Spell Searcher here. And they also have access to Triheart, which is an absolute abomination of a card. They also get access to, you guessed it, our favorite package in the whole wide world, the Negateseas. And because they get access to like this really wider range of like toolbox options, this deck actually kind of shows up as a rogue pick right now. And more people, I think, are going to continue to discount this deck, and it's fine. You get 2-0'd by Scareclaw in an event because you were uneducated. There's not much that you can do about that at the end of the day. Just get better 5-head. I also like how we're playing 1 straddle in the main, 1 in the side. All right. Looks straightforward to me. Next up here is our sprite list. Times are that bad, eh? Well, you know what they say, right? If you can't beat them, join them. So we're just going to go put a Macro Cosmo in our deck that we can access pretty much at any time as long as we can see a mash change too. Good stuff, Konami. I'm really glad to see that our one of Darklaw in our hero deck is actually going to get the job done. We've seen, some of the other decks in the room trying this. This is not the first time that we've seen this. We've seen Tyr do it for the mirror match, and I do think that it is kind of hilarious to see, Darklaw doing its job. Outside of that, the rest of the sprite deck feels pretty normal. I mean, Bysteel Package is going to do its job. You have to make sure that you see these cards in order to play the game. Like, it's just kind of that bad. So, not really much you can do about it when the format's like, yeah. Here's our Thunder Dragon Link list. Okay, so this has actually become a little bit cooler these days. We've seen Solar and friends kind of stepping back up. They use the Dragon Link package to kind of bridge the gap, per se. Basically, Bysteel Package anti-meta cards. Thunder Dragon Package is going to give you some deck thinning options / free bodies to establish on the field. And then, you're just kind of bridging the gap with things like Chaos Dragon and so forth. It's kind of just like all of the good pieces that you would expect moving in a deck like this, working together to give this the chance to function. And I do think that's really freaking cool, man. Like, however much combo and things that, this deck needs to go off, it's working relatively well. So your splash ability options for this format are actually pretty interesting, especially for a deck like this at the end of the day. And then we got some tier elements. We picked the craziest looking tier list to talk about for this, because this is, we're playing, oh boy, Albion Cartesia. You got the Shizu package in here for the shufflebacks. You got the Bellion and friends in here because you like your interruptions. And you got the Brave package in here as well to detour and punish the opponent. I don't really need to say, much else about that, but that's so many moving pieces in a deck like this that it all is working out at the end of the day, which is fairly impressive, to say the least. So that is everything that I thought was relatively interesting to talk about out of the Chaliceslime monthly for this month. So what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.